Okay, everyone, y'all cannot see her just yet, but she will be on in just a second. Ladies, I have a pleasant surprise for you guys. I have the reset specialist, wife coach, and just in general, anointed woman of God, uh, my sister, Mrs. Somalia Brown, aka Coach BB, and she's here and she's gonna give us some good nuggets, just on what God has been giving her and what she's been sharing, and depositing into the body of Christ. So I'm gonna go ahead and get her in, and she could kind of do more and introduce herself. Let's see. She could definitely give you guys more background than I can. All right, here we go. You ready, sis?
Yes. Thank you. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me on your page. This is our second one, and I'm super excited.
Look, I'm calling it a takeover.
Hey, let's let it run. I'll roll with that. How are we gonna start? How you want to start this?
Actually, like I said, tell them about yourself. My thing is, I could go on all day because I just recently I went on YouTube and I was like binge watching your videos, but you're a person, I feel like, just a lot of the things that God has given to me as far as marriage is concerned, I feel like you pretty much mirror the same things. However, you have the years and the practice to where you have it going. Like I know it, but I'm still getting it into practice. I feel like you actually have your stride in it. And so in helping so many people, and if anybody has ever sat under this woman's ministry, you know the power that she operates with already. So really, I'm gonna just pretty much get out of the way and let you go, and I'm gonna listen. I might throw out some questions. I'm gonna watch these comments because ladies, if y'all have, my thing is, if you are in the presence with somebody who has a grace or a wisdom, ladies, make sure that y'all send y'all fishing hooks out there so that y'all can grab as much as you can, and I will facilitate that.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay, so like she said, my name is Somalia Brown. I am the reset specialist. I help transform people's mind. I help you look at differences, different angles, shift your mindset, which can go spiritual, relational, marriage, work. It doesn't matter. It'll go across the board. I'm also a global relationship coach. I have clients as far as Africa, as close as my backyard. And God has definitely anointed me with wisdom beyond my years. Even before I was married, I was giving married women advice. I didn't realize it. I mean, I stumbled across a journal that my mom found of me in high school, when we all write journals. And I literally to be a psychologist. I was just like, oh, wow. So I've always had, and my dad would always, you need to be a social worker because you're always on the phone giving somebody advice. So basically, I've always done what I wanted to. I just didn't realize that it was a calling on my life. Because again, meet Christ. I don't think I've ever even gone this route, but I'll just give a little snippet. I didn't meet Christ until I was like 19. So,
wow. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't grow up in a household. My parents were actually Catholic because we're Latin. So they were Catholic. The only thing I remember of those days is my brother doing his, I don't even know what it's called, when he did his sermon ceremony. Yes.
Yeah, maybe like confirmation or something like that.
And I'm sitting in the audience congregation like, do I have to do that? She goes, yes. I said, I don't want to do that. I didn't know why I said that, but I was just like, I don't want to do that. By the time it was my turn, we weren't even Catholic anymore. I don't know what we were. So it was just like, God was like, yeah, no. So, and no offense to anyone who is, it's just, that wasn't my walk. That wasn't where he wanted me. So I didn't meet him till 19. So I had been doing my calling up until, and then even when I met him, I still didn't know my calling. So It came about where a girlfriend who had been married 15 plus years was coming to me for advice, and she was taking it. And I didn't think anything of it because most people do. And she goes, I don't understand why I even ask you for advice. I've been married 15 years. You don't even have a man. Like, what? She goes, advice is so sound. She goes, you should look into that. That might be your calling. And then that's when the wheels started running, and I started digging, and I realized, oh, then a couple of years later, I want to be a life coach. And then a couple of years later, I think I want to be a wife coach. So that's it in a nutshell, to kind of give you a little background on me. So when I agree with Brianna when she said, when you find someone who has an anointing for their niche, their calling, their purpose, that's way different than just someone who said, I want to be a coach. I want to be a pastor. When you feel, when you're just like, okay, you didn't know that. God told you that? Yes. You glean and you listen and you absorb. That's how I am, and that's how you grow. With that being said, I have a webinar coming. I usually do it once a month, but this webinar has stepped on toes in a good way. So, and I say in a good way because usually it's like, ouch, ouch. No, this is, hey, babe, let me show you how to dance, kind of step on the toes, like taking the advantage, because it was a bad thing. It's called overstepping your boundaries. Like I said, on my app, the Reset app community, I usually do once a month a relationship goals tips webinar. And I give my community a tip on how to handle hurt, how to handle healing, how to handle unforgiveness. Just, I pick a topic, or I don't pick it. I let the Lord pick a topic, and then we go from there. This one was called
awesome tips too, right on time.
Yes. Right, and that's
on time.
Got it, because I'm just like, okay, let's do this, and then people are just like glued to it, like, oh my God, that was just yesterday, that was last week. So this month was overstepping boundaries. And again, I'm just going through like normal, and I didn't realize this one to date was my best turnout, most engaged. But I felt it. I felt it from the response, like, oh my God, when is this? Yes, me and 2 of my friends are coming. And I was just like, okay, God, because before I get into it, so that one was last Saturday. The next one is this Saturday at 3 p.m. Central Time, and it is on my app. So if anyone wants to find it, it's theresetapp.com, and you can sign up directly there or at bit.ly//relation goals. You can sign up there. The women had a ball. Even though stepping on their toes, there was a lot of ouches. There was a lot of like, oh my God. I had a lot of singles. So single ladies, if you're on here, it doesn't matter if you're married. I draw a lot of single women, but the single women that I draw are me. I was very proactive. I sought how to be a wife. I sat under people and watched people, read books before I got married, because I'm a proactive person in everything that I do anyways. So the people that I attract that are single are like, I know I'm single and I know I can't practice this right now, but it's in my back pocket.
Yes, absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? And that's what, because there was a lot of people on there that was just like, man, I'm in this 18 years married game. I wish I knew this. Lucky you guys, you get a different look at marriage before you even get in. So if you're single and you're wondering, is this for me? Yes. If you know that you are supposed to be married and one day you will, this is absolutely for you. If you are married, you don't have to be having issues. That I want to debunk that right now. You don't seek a coach if you're struggling. I'm an athlete, so all my analogies are athletes. Something to do with sports. When I ran track and played soccer, I didn't seek a coach because I was struggling. I sought a coach to make me better. A better track runner, a better soccer player, a better footwork player, better with my breathing and how to breathe. You seek a coach for what you need in the area that you need it. So if you're married and you're having troubles communicating, you seek a communication coach. If you're having troubles listening, you seek a listening. And I don't even know if they have them like that or if it's just one all-encompassing. But you seek what you need and you're lacking in. And people, for whatever reason, I don't need a coach, everything is great. Fine. Keep it that way. Let's keep it great. Let's add to it. Let's not go back.
Look, you want to build on that.
Right? Let's 6 months from now, it's like, man, everything was so good. Well, it's because you relaxed. A coach will not let you relax. And what I do is I push you, not in the beginning. Everybody knows it's the fourth quarter in basketball. It's the fourth quarter in football. It's the last 20 meters in the 400 of track. It's never in the beginning. You are perfectly winded. You have the strength, the stamina. It's that last 2 minutes.
Yes.
You don't, and that takes this heart. That takes this speaking to yourself, knowing what to speak to yourself, not to give up. I stood for this. I stood on that podium and I said I do, and I'm not allowing the enemy to come in and take what is mine. It's having that type of tenacity when you're hurting. See, we can have that tenacity when we're fine and I'm lovey-dovey and our intimacy is great and we're connecting and we're this and that. But where's that same fire when you're pissed, when you're mad, when you're like, oh, if he does one more thing, I could wring his neck. You still have to have that tenacity because the enemy don't play fair. He doesn't get happy or sad. He is coming in, and when you are sad, that's when he creeps in and divides and conquers. That's our fault. So if you deal with me, I'm just going to let you know right now, if you decide to reach out to me, I am a very upfront, honest relationship strategist. But when I say that, if you call me and say, my husband just cussed me out, I'm not going to say, oh no, woo woo, it's you. I'm going to say, what did you say to get cussed out? Ooh. Why? Because I have to put the mirror in your face.
That's white meat right there.
Yeah. Because we don't realize that we poked and we prodded and he reacted. But you mad at him because he reacted, but you started it. And a lot of us don't see that. You know, a lot of us don't even know that we're diggers. It's so ingrained in us as women. If any of us have daughters, I have one and I see it all the time and I'm nipping it in the bud now because I don't want her to grow up to be that woman where, oh, mommy, did you see when he did this? I'm like, stop, that's not your business. I'm talking to your brother. It's a dig, or it's that under the breath, well, if you would have did this, we wouldn't be here right now. That doesn't need to be said. Those are thoughts that when they come out, those are fighting words. I teach you about fighting words. I teach you about the overstepping your boundaries. I did write some notes because I definitely want to stay on task and on target because, you know, we can kind of go away. So basically, the gist of it is learning to let go of your mission husband or your DIY project husband. Ooh. Yeah. So what I found in doing research for this is men get married and hope things never change. Yep. Women get married praying that he changes. Yep. Is that a bad thing? My track coach at LSU told me I recruit potential because potential can grow. But let me tell you the difference. I want to change. I want to be a better track athlete. I want to win. Right. Not saying your husband doesn't, but how can you hire, date, marry potential, and he doesn't even know he needs changing? See, that's the key. I knew I needed change. I knew I needed to work on my arms. I knew I needed to work on my legs and my stamina to be able to drop my time. I knew I needed to work on my start. So I'm going in there receptive to work on this, tweak that. Our husbands don't come in receptive to, hey, if you can start taking the trash out a little faster, hey, if you can put the dishes down instead of up, because that bothers me, he's not ready. He don't know nothing about that. So that's very invasive. And it's very flipping the switch, okie doke. So the overstepping boundaries help you erase that. There is no DIY project husband. And what you learn what it really is, you'll learn what it is in the webinar. So I'm going to leave that one there. Yes.
Y'all better sign up for this webinar. I know I am.
Yes. It's like once you're married, it's not uncommon for women to try to change their husband. It's just our natural natures. We're fixer. And sometimes it's genuine. Like, hey, babe, you have an interview, but your suit jacket is really old. Let's try to fix it. Okay. But is it unsolicited help? Or did he ask for help? See, we like to just give our advice sometimes, and our husbands don't always want it. That's invasion.
Right.
It is, you know, because think about if you're going somewhere and everywhere, babe, you know, you can park right here. Babe, you know that the gas station on the other side has cheaper gas. It's too much. And men love peace. Peace. Peace.
Yes.
Men love peace. I know my husband told me one of his friends was like, man, you leave work and go straight home every night. He's like, yeah, I like going home. They were like, man, it's just too, I wait till the kids are asleep and she's about sleep because she's the best when she's about sleep. I don't know this woman and I don't know the man, but that broke my heart.
Right.
Because it's like, as soon as he gets home from work, it's want this, want that. You know what I mean?
And unfortunately, that's typical.
Too typical. Too typical. And then it's unsolicited advice. Then it's no peace. Then it's the trying to force your opinion on them.
Oh.
Instead of accepting them for who they are and how they process and operate things. That's the biggest one. That's the one that everyone's just like, ouch. You cannot change a grown man that does not want to be changed. If he has been tying his right shoe before his left shoe since he was 6, baby girl, you are not changing that.
No.
And why? You see what I'm saying? Like sometimes is it really that important? Is it really that important that you put the cup down in the cabinet and he wants it up? It's not.
And being able to weigh out what's, like you said, is it that important? Is it that necessary? Is it, you know, fruitful even to bring it up or touch, or is it something that you can, you know, kind of almost like you say, check yourself about and just, you know, for little things like that, do it yourself, you know? Because I know I'm particular, so it's a lot of things that I'll do myself just not to, you know.
Exactly. And that's the thing. But see, the thing is, the woman will do it themselves. And it sounds like you've accepted, okay, my husband's just not as particular as me, so I'm okay with it. And I'm like you. My husband, when we first got married, he would wash like crazy. But then I'd have tons of clothes that had to be folded. I'm like, whoa. He's like, well, I hate folding. I'm like, well, glad I know. So now years later, I know he does not like to fold. So I'm not going to say, I just do it. I accepted that. And I've accepted it for 11 years. I'm going to fold. If he washes, I am folding. And sometimes he helps because I've never said a word. Because he already told me I don't like doing it. Women here, I don't like doing it. And I'm gonna give this just because this hit me so hard. The TV show Black Love, I don't know if you've seen it.
Yes.
And I think we've talked about this, but I always stand on this. They said, I forgot what couple it was, but they said, marriage is like Christmas. Babe, what do you want for Christmas? I want some red and white sneakers. Okay. She goes and buys you a sweater. She gets you a sweater. And you're mad that he doesn't want the sweater.
Right.
I mean, just think of the logic. You asked him, what do you want? He said sneakers. You saw a sweater and bought the sweater. How can you be mad that he's not excited? Now, I have given people, because they're like, well, what about, I said, what you could have done is get him the sneakers and say, but I saw this sweater. But see, we're very,
right.
This is what I'm
going to cancel this. We're going to give him what we want him to have. Yeah.
Exactly. And then that's why it says we try to change religious beliefs. We try to change fashion sense. We try to change personal development. I mean, it doesn't matter. We are fixers. I get it. But as you were getting at, alluding to, pick your battles. I teach you how to pick your battles. What is really important to you? Because everything's not that important. Everything's not a 911.
Right.
The cupboard is not a 911. The dishwasher is not a 911. The front door, everything is not a 911. Now, there are some things that you're just like, dude, I really need you to do this. That's different. And if you monitor how many times you say I need and I want, that alone, your vocabulary you'll catch yourself being like, wow, I do ask him to change a lot. A lot. We have a lot of ones. I need you to do this. I want you to do it this way. Can you do it this way? And so that's the main gist of it. And then just letting you know, trying to change your spouse is basically personal invasion, like I said before. You will learn why it's personal invasion. Your husband will feel 3 powerful silent emotions that will change the dynamics of your relationship. I'll give you one. They feel disrespected. You would never know, but men respect other people. That's their language. I respect that. I respect you. When you come in trying to change someone, you're not respecting him or his boundaries.
Right.
Especially if it's unsolicited. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are just willing to just say, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that. And then when it comes back and bites them in the butt because the person takes the advice and it doesn't work, now they want to backpedal. But again, it's because we have to learn to not have diarrhea at the mouth, to always want to fix. So the end result, what the end result looks like in your marriage when you constantly try to change someone, it leads to divorce, hands down. It leads to bumpy roads, rocky starts. And the reason why is because one is disrespect. Your husband cannot bounce back from a constant this, that. I don't like this. I don't like that. You never, you always, which I teach my clients, remove always and never from your vocabulary. We learned that in high school. It is not a true statement. No one is that consistent. Right. And it's accusatory. You are accusing your husband of just never being loving, never doing X, Y, and Z. And the women, it's mainly the women. Men accept it. They married who they wanted. They are completely satisfied. It's us who are like, and I tell my clients, if you can't be happy with who he is right now today, you can't love him when he changes because he can't get there. Yeah. So in the midst of it, it switches. The webinar switch. And I won't reveal that because that's the shocker. And that's what will really reel you in to be like, okay. And why I say that is because everyone on here that I'm sure that's listening or will hear the replay is a believer. We are prayer warriors. We pray and we believe and we stand on faith. But I'm going to read something to you that God gave me that I stand on. Faith, where is it at? Faith in your marriage is becoming what you are believing for.
Ooh. Okay, I have to put that in the banner. Wow.
Yes. Faith in your marriage is becoming what you're believing for. Absolutely.
Wow.
And to kind of add to that, and I'll give you a second.
Oh, I'm typing it up. That's powerful.
It hit me too.
Man.
Because we all talk about faith, 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 faith. Well, what are the actions? What's the feet to your prayers?
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? So the other point I want to say, and then we can take questions, or if you want to keep going, we can keep going. But what I told the girls last weekend is we have a lot of meddlers as women. We meddle. We put our hands and stuff. God says back up. We back up for a second and we say, oh, but I can help right here. Mm-hmm. We back up again and we're like, but God, he's not. Let me just put the paperwork on the table so he can see it, and then it'll jar his memory. He'll do it. He'll drop it in the mail. Let me put the trash by the door. So you're meddling. You're not God be God. And you know what it does? It fabricates maturity.
Oh.
Why? Because you are basically making the scenario for him to be mature enough to be like, oh, there's the trash. Let me take it out. Next week, when it's time to take the trash out, it's again, you got to put it in his space. It's not maturity. He didn't click. It ain't,
right.
It's Monday. You fabricated it. So you're happy, but now you got to keep fabricating it.
Now, tell me this. Would that also be a form of manipulation?
It can. It absolutely can. If you really look, because you're meddling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's like, if you really want to paint it as that, absolutely. Because that could be the sense of fabricating that you got a blessing and it's not really a blessing. But you make it look like a blessing, and you set it up like, yes, it's manipulation. It's lying. It's exaggerate. It's all of that. And that's why marriages have such hard times with women that don't see it like that. And that's when I said that, I think everyone was just like, okay, we can end right now.
Because, and you know, it's so true what you're saying, because, and I would give this nugget to single women. What happens is because we've already been living our whole lives to be married since we were young. And a lot of times we marry for marriage and not necessarily for who it is. We just looking for a character to play the part in the reality that we've drawn up.
Yeah.
And so your husband ends up being like a pawn for whatever dream, fantasy, life you envision. And then he almost becomes like, okay, you have to play this part. And it's like, you want to spend the years grooming him instead of marrying because you found the man. Yep. You know, you just fit the man into your marriage.
Basically.
You know?
Basically. And if you want to make it a little more Kim K and the guy she married before she married her husband now. He said it. Any man would have done. Any man could have stood here on this day and you would have been okay. Because it wasn't about him, it wasn't about the marriage, it wasn't about her. It was this big old shindig, on ETV. It was all this craziness, and he said it on TV. Is it really about us, or any person could have fit this role right here, right now? So, and that right there is the majority. I hate to say it, but if I had to put a number on it, 98%.
Whew.
We all, and that's
been guilty. Yeah, I had to check myself on it.
Absolutely. Me too. 98% of us go into a marriage, unless you have a strong mom and dad and aunties and it's all around you, then it's a little less. But even if you have a strong mom and dad, that TV, those books, your friends, it's skewed. Yep. And it's so skewed that I have to completely start from scratch with my clients. If they're single or if they're married, I have to dumb it all the way down and say, give me your expectations of marriage. Give me your husband. And I have to scratch their entire list and say, no, ma'am. Being on the other side, height, looks, yes, it does matter to an extent. But let me tell you, how about, does he pray when I'm really out of it? How about I'm having a baby and now there's an issue and they may want to have a blood transfusion? Does he know how to get on his knees and pray while you're in that hospital right then and there? Those are the things that we don't think we need.
Right.
What about,
that's important.
Communicate? What about, does he know how to talk to you when he's angry? Have you seen him angry? How does he handle pressure, stress? What kind of man do you want? What kind of qualities do you expect him to be when he's a dad? How do you want him to talk to your kids? Are you guys, none of that's on a list. Never, ever, ever. Education and all those are fine and dandy, but then you got to drill it down.
Yeah.
You have to drill it down.
And that stuff doesn't matter at the end of the day in marriage.
No, it doesn't. I mean, to an extent, yes, okay, he has a good job. You guys are taken care of. But again, if he has a good job and you guys are taken care of, but you argue every night, what's the point? There's no connection. Yep. There's no intimacy nowhere. Physical, sexual, mentally, spiritually, no connection whatsoever. And the connection is usually lost because women, and this one also hit home, the connection in marriages are usually disconnected or lost because the woman doesn't know how to forgive. Oh. I'm not going to say it's not the man, because some men don't know how to forgive. But most women, if I really pinpoint, last week you didn't take out the trash. I had to do it. This week you came home, there was dishes in the sink, you washed your own dish and left the rest of the dishes like your kids aren't yours. You didn't help me clean up the house. Those three things right there, the first one already made you cold sexually. The second one, now you're fuming inside because you already got the first one. Then here comes the third one. Now he's hearing your mouth. If we learn to deal with each situation at that time. It won't
pile up. Yeah. It brings me back to your video on offense in marriage and kind of getting rid of that spirit of offense and constantly allowing those things, because it doesn't have to be a big thing, you know, because sometimes we more focus on forgiving the big things and then we still upset about him for little things. Yeah,
that's it. And that spirit of offense that rides a marriage, the crazy thing is people don't know it, and I'm glad you watched that one, because spirit of offense, the Greek, not the Greek word, the Hebrew word is bait. And when you start looking at offense as bait, you don't take it as often. Because what is a bait? I'm baiting you, which means what? So basically,
like a trap or snare.
And this is why you have to study scripture, because it says offense will come. It says it. But take out offense and put bait. Baits will come. Offense takes away the personal accountability. Oh, the offense is going to come, so I have to take it. You put bait in there. Bait puts the responsibility back on you. Do I take this bait or do I not take this bait? That's how you stop offense in your marriage, because offense is the #1 killer of intimacy of all kind. Because we as women, we're very sensitive. That's true. We're extremely sensitive. So when you are offended, you don't want to make love. You don't want to hug. You don't want to kiss. You don't even want to be in the same room with them. But the sad thing is we take the bait every day. He's late for work and he forgets the call. You get offended. It's those little things, the small foxes. That's it. It's not the, like you said, oh, the big thing, I'm gonna forgive you for that. But you ain't forgive him last week for coming home late without calling. Oh. And then to top that, God was dealing with me and my group last August on prejudice. Ooh, when we heard that word, we was just like, what do you mean? No one here is prejudice. I mean, we love all people. Oh, now, and we looked up the definition of prejudice in Hebrew, prejudge.
Oh, come on.
We were like, ouch. Stop prejudging your husband. And we said, okay, got it, but what do you mean? And then someone said, I got an answer. Hey, babe, I think I want to ask my husband to let's go to the beach. Nah, he never wants to go to the beach. Boom, you just you didn't even give him the opportunity to say yes or no.
Let me tell you, and I am a geek for all things that have to do with the brain. And there was a man who did a talk about marriage, and he was like, one of the #1 killers of marriage is that he did the whole front brain, back brain thing. And he said that we start dealing with our spouses based on an automatic brain, and we stop learning them on the spot and taking in. Yes. Come on. Yes.
My language. Oh, my girl. This challenge, you are going to love it. I can't go into it, but that's exactly what we're doing in the challenge.
Come on.
Oh, my God. Yes. We live on autopilot. As soon as your husband says no for one thing, every time you go to him, it's an automatic no in your mind before you even give him the benefit. That's why the benefit of the doubt in marriages is gone. Yeah. Nobody gives anybody the benefit of the doubt because we live on autopilot. But that's an us thing.
Oh, yes. Oh, and I ain't gonna lie though. Look, from your advice and your videos, y'all go look her up on YouTube too. One of the prayers that I pray, and I would pray it, but I let it die. And I recently started praying it again to constantly see my husband with a fresh pair of eyes, you know, and the eyes that God sees him with, but a fresh pair. Because sometimes we get all these lenses and we, like you say, we prejudge them. We feel like we have them pegged and we already know what they're going to say. And we don't even give them a chance to be, you know, what they can.
Nope. And I mean, just on top of that, you know how much sin that is? Because the measure you judge, you be judged. Now your boss is judging you. Your friends are judging you. I mean, you're judging your husband all day long. And to be honest, I know a lot of people, whoever's listening is like, I don't do it. Or maybe I do. When you start being mindful, you'll see just how much.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It is absolutely human nature. And it's a
Yep.
fight. I mean, automatic subconscious and automatic autopilot is a killer. You know how they say, and this is way off topic, but it's on topic. You created your life. You know why? You created your life because of the autopilot.
Yep.
When you're going to work, you get to work and you're like, dang, that was quick. I don't remember making a left, making a right. I'm already here. You drove on autopilot days. You know when you know you're in autopilot? When you almost get in a wreck and you snap out of it. You're like, oh.
Yep.
That's how you know you were in autopilot. And what autopilot does is you keep making the same mistakes on autopilot. To be present is to say, I want to go to the beach, but I know the coronavirus and I know my husband. I'm going to ask him anyway. That changes. That means you're present.
You just gave me a nugget for life. I'm about to log off right now. Bye, y'all. Bye. I'm about to log off.
That is the one key that I can give you right now to stay present. Challenge yourself. Every time you're saying, oh, I'm going to go ask my boss, but my boss always, nope. I'm going to go ask him anyway. Let him tell me no. He may say yes. That's being present. That's that autopilot. We create our own world. We really do. When you start changing that, you will see your husband's going to change and everything around you is going to change. It's not them. It's you. It wasn't my husband. It was me. I'm going to give you this one last example. And then if there's any questions, we'll go ahead. We got married June 25th, 2009. And I always tell this story because people are just like, what? I got married and my husband was a football coach. He'd come home for lunch every day. I made lunch. I was a stay-at-home mom. Stay-at-home wife. I wasn't a mom yet. And he would come in. We had a shotgun house and he would track dirt because he came straight from the football field to the house. And the first couple of days I was like, what the heck? I mean, I'm not his maid. God was like, if you give me your marriage, I will use your marriage to change marriages. You know, us being young in God, we're like, sure, whatever. Don't know what we signing up for. Girl. He said, don't say that. I said, oh, whoa. Oh, he said, just do it. I said, oh. Because God plays on our obedience to him and he knows that.
Absolutely.
I said, okay. 1 week. I'm like, God. He said, keep praying. I said, you need to do something because I'm not his maid. Every day, girl. 3 weeks. I'm praying. God, I don't like this. I feel like a maid. I'm telling him how I feel. Honestly, I have never once said nothing to my husband. Not once. I would clean it up after he left. He wouldn't even know. Comes home, does it, turns around. I said, what's that? God says, now you can tell him. Okay, I was ready. So I said, you? And he goes, what you mean? I said, every day you come home and you track dirt. He's like, oh, got down, cleaned it. Never happened again.
Come on.
Never happened again. He would dust his feet off, take his shoes off. I didn't say, that's when I was just like, hold up. I didn't have to say nothing because that's when God taught me my book, Pray Why What Call Where, which I actually don't have on me, which I should have, but Pray
I
Why.
might have mine. I keep it close. Give me 1 second. I bet you I have it close. I'm listening.
Okay. But yeah, the Pray Why What Call Where book, that's where that was birthed out of. He gave me 5 steps to follow. Never take anything to your husband before you take it to God. That's 1. Always pray about it. 2, why? Why does this bother you? Were you having a bad day? Are you PMSing? Or are you the issue? Call. Pray Why What Call. Yes. Did you call a friend and tell an unbiased version of the story? Because we don't know how to tell stories. We tell, girl, can you believe he did this and then he did that? We amp it up so that they agree with it. No, you tell facts. And I liken it to when you go to court. If you say something that objection, that's hearsay. Objection, that's feelings. No feelings, straight facts. He came in, he messed up the living room, he did this, and I'm pissed. Do I have a right to be pissed? Your true accountability partner, which I also help my clients figure out a true accountability partner, because you can have a cheerleader. You can't go to your cheerleader. That person thinks you're the bomb. You'll never do anything wrong in their eyes. Who do you go to in that instance? You go to your pusher or your challenger, someone like me. Yeah, girl. All my friends that know me, I need a mirror check. That's what we call I need a mirror check. Am I wrong? Because that's when you are really growing. So pray why, what, call where. Where did I go wrong? And then why? Or pray why, what, call where. Yes, those are the 5. Mm-hmm. And once you do that, if you are still bothered, you go to him. For me, in the book, it tells you why you can still go to him. If you're not still bothered, which it's been plenty of times, God is like, that's you. You're being a brat. You're being spoiled. Leave it alone. That was you. I would go to him and be like, babe, because he knows something's wrong. I've already told him, hey, something happened. I'm upset, but I'm not ready to talk. I also teach my clients how to create safe zones. I'm not ready to talk. And you have to respect each other's boundaries, but you can't walk around huffing and puffing. You can't walk around. You have to still cook. You have to still clean. And you still sometimes may have to be intimate. God may tell you, period. But you have to you can't wear it. You are dealing with your issues with God. The book teaches you how to deal with your side of the issues, holds you accountable so that, okay, babe, yeah, something does bother me. When you did this, I realized it was my fault because I had high expectations for you to do certain thing, but at the same time, you still didn't even do it. So that's what the book does. And there's plenty of time when I tell you, my husband will be like, hey, you didn't come back to me. I'm like, yeah, God told me it was on me. And he was like, and what had nothing to do with you, it was on me. And he does the same to me. I get 3 days, he gets 1 day. We created that agreement. I teach my clients how to create that agreement. That's what I'm saying. You have to have agreements. The power of agreements is powerful. Remember, it says where 2 or 3 are there, I'm there. And it only takes 2 to agree. Mm-hmm. But he also didn't say if it's negative or positive. All he said is it takes 2 to agree on something. So when you say, babe, we agree, it blocks the enemy. Just real quick, everybody on here, the area where you and your spouse agree, you have no issues. You're not attacked. There's no disagreement. There's no offense. But think of the area you guys don't agree on. Turmoil, chaos, because agreement is like a covenant. It is a covenant, and it blocks the enemy from having an end. When you don't agree is when he can come in and wreak havoc. And on that, I want to end with that, just to give you guys that little nugget. You have to figure out how to agree. We sometimes agree to disagree, but it's still an agreement.
Yeah, come on.
That's how you get over on the enemy. Babe, I don't agree with you. He'll be like, I don't agree with you, but I'll support you. But we have an agreement. We agree to disagree. So
I like that. Okay, any ladies have questions? Now is the time, y'all. Remember, even if you don't have a question, try to think about one. Try to think about one. And I'm commenting on Facebook, so I may be premature because we have a little delay, but ladies, y'all, yeah. So I'm gonna give them some time.
Okay, let me see if I can find. I think I have a book over here.
Mine might be on my other bookshelf, but I usually keep it close. I'm shocked.
Yep, I have one. It's real small, simple. I'll put it close.
Yep.
It's a quick read. It's something that, I mean, like she said, she keep it on her nightstand. It's my way of life.
No, it's a resource. Like, yeah, it's a resource.
Yes, I don't do like
that's in the same category as dictionaries and encyclopedias. That's a reference, where you can go back to and pull those strategies.
And I'm telling you, when you keep that, add to it, take it minimizes. Because if you can take your anger to God and be like, look, my spouse did X, Y, and Z. God, I'm really upset. Give me a dream to let me know if it was my fault. Was it me? I mean, did I hear him wrong? Did I misinterpret something? Not understand what he was saying? And then you get a dream or you watch something and you get your answer and you realize that was me. Okay. It's a gut check, but you got to be ready for that. Everyone's not ready for that level of accountability to self. That's
right.
Because it is
Oh
an
no,
account.
that's a hard one there, because sometimes certain things sting, and I find in marriage one of the difficulties is you don't want to sting by yourself. Like you want, well, I'm gonna look at me, you look at you, or and a lot of times I find that God he will push me because he will put me in that hot seat, keep me in that hot seat, and almost dare me to look over at my husband at that, in any, respect, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yes,
Okay.
over there if you want to, because this spotlight is all on you.
Exactly. And so for me, my challenge is always not to deflect, and just kind of sit in that and work on what I have to work on. But like you said, that talking to God, constantly asking him to show you, constantly focusing, it works. It really does.
It does. It does.
It really
And
does.
that's the thing that's just lacking in marriages is this, and this.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of, okay, let me go here and see. It's
Yep.
just the finger, and that's what you can't do. It will not survive. It will not. Nothing can survive. Even work. Your co-workers can't survive with you constantly pointing fingers.
Right.
It can't. A partner. I messed up. It takes two to tango to do good and to do bad. It just does.
Absolutely.
You just got to be willing to accept it.
And sometimes we don't even realize we pointing the finger when we are. Like, even what you were saying about making the same mistakes on autopilot, that I feel like that's me in a nutshell. Because in my mind I'm like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore, I don't want to do it, and it's like something happens and you're like, how did I've been praying and concentrating on not doing it, and then we're in a situation, especially like if we're having one of those conversations and it's like, okay, there it goes again, and it's like, oh my God, so it can get complicated.
It can. But after this weekend, you will know how. Promise you. You
All
will
right.
change your autopilot mind. That's what it is. You know. You will know.
Okay. And look, if we don't have any questions, I am going to make sure to share, because I know you have a post with the link on there where women can just click and they could sign up right away. What time will the webinar be?
It's at 3.
Okay, 3 o'clock.
3 Central.
3 Central. Okay, so I'm going to make sure.
Hour and 15, give or take, depending on how many questions at the end of it. So, and how active the group is. The last one we had, of course, technical difficulties, so it's about an hour and 40 minutes. But if you take off the initial technical difficulties where it wouldn't work, nothing would work, it wouldn't even come on, you couldn't hear, all that good stuff, I would say it was about an hour and 20 minutes.
Okay, and tell me this: how about if a lady maybe is not available at 3, if she registers for the webinar, will the recording be available to her?
Yes.
So ladies, even if you cannot be on at 3, if you register for the webinar, you still have the recording of it.
Yep.
So don't count yourself out because you can't be on there live.
Yes. There is a recording. Yes. There's an opportunity to win a one-on-one session with me. And there's an opportunity to win a free, a complimentary ticket to the next relationship webinar for what is August. Because I'm going to do it monthly. So yes. So there's an opportunity there to help women out. Because, this is definitely something that's heavy on my heart with God.
Awesome. Well, I thank you again for coming and taking over my page. It's not going to be the last time.
Love it.
Not going to be the last time. But thank you guys for tuning in, and those who watch afterwards. Please register for this webinar. Promise you will be blessed. And if there are no questions, I'm looking.
Yes.
We are going to go ahead and let you guys enjoy the rest of your night. And thanks again to our reset specialist, Miss Somalia Brown. Always
a pleasure. Have good conversation. Thank you so much. I appreciate you and your audience. And if anybody has any questions, you can always, I'm on Facebook. Coach BB. I'm on Instagram at I am Somali Brown. The link to register is also in my my profile and my bio and Instagram. But if you even have any personal questions, DM me. I'm always available to assist.
Yeah, you actually had one question come up. I'm gonna throw it at you right quick. And Britt, tell me if I'm not wording it correctly or if I am. It says, can you forgive too quickly, like to give him time to think about the situation? So I think she may be asking, is it possible to forgive too quickly if maybe the situation hasn't been resolved?
That's exactly what she's asking. And I've had clients who are like, you want me to forgive him and not let him sit in it. And then I turn it around and say, well, who are you to make someone sit in it? Ooh. So, yeah. And then that's exactly what she said. Oh, Somalia. I'm like, that's not your job. Your job is to forgive quickly, because that's what God tells us. So there is not a problem. You do your part, because love covers a multitude of sin. So you consistently forgiving him is ministering to him, whether you know it or not. Now, some may take advantage of that. There are some out there that will take advantage of that, but that's God's job. Right. You don't deal with that part. You make sure that, God forbid, you guys are arguing, something happens, you choose not to forgive and you pass in that, that's a sin. So think of it that way. Is he worth going to hell? No. Our kids aren't even worth going to hell. Love them dearly, but nobody is worth it. So if you look at forgiveness,
especially if they don't go.
So yes, there's no reason to hold on to your forgiveness, especially if God has given you a forgiven heart. You don't want to do that.
Absolutely.
Because that's going to hurt you. So I hope I answered your question. Did she say yes or no?
Let's see. Was that good, Britt?
Because I have had a couple clients say, you want me to do what? I'm like,
awesome.
Yes. Yes.
There have been some people like, and one thing I had to learn, forgiveness and apologies are not connected either. You know, and some people are like, I can't fully let it go or forgive you until I get this kind of apology or this kind of, you know, I need to know that you realize what you did, you know. And sometimes forgiveness is totally about the condition of our heart, you know, and the posture of our heart towards God, you know, because that's our gateway to be forgiven. So I can't ask God to forgive me and I'm still holding that rain cloud over the head of my husband, you know.
Yep. Absolutely. Because I mean, it's just one of those things that, again, that's kind of that meddling. That's kind of that, let me let him sit so he can feel it. But it's not really doing anything. You know why? It's actually backfiring. Let me tell you why. What was her name?
Brittany, yeah.
It's backfiring, and this is why. When you do that, I'm not going to assume because I don't know, but in most cases, the woman is the believer, the strong believer in most relationships. There's men that are, but most relationships, the woman's the strong believer. You're helping him. You're guiding him. He's the head, but you're helping him. You're pulling him. You're all that good stuff. When you do not walk the way you're supposed to, you hinder him. And if you don't forgive, he's going to say, but you want me to have your God? That's a hypocrite. Think of it like that. And is it easy? Oh, no. But that's why marriage is what it is. I said something in the webinar that sometimes, most of the time, marriages are not what it seems. It's a sacrifice. My definition for a wife is a woman who is willing to be a sacrifice for the growth of her husband and her marriage. Just think about that. You have to sacrifice for him to grow. You have to sacrifice for marriage to grow, which means that turning in the other cheek, because you're the believer, you're held accountable. And then I've had, well, when is he going to be held accountable? When you're helping him get to a point, a position that he can be held accountable. That's our job as a wife, to help him get to a point where God could then hold him accountable. But we're their God. And I'm not saying we're a God, but what I'm saying is, you know how they say sometimes you're the only God they see? I've heard one too many times, husbands and kids, my mom's a hypocrite. She is God, hallelujah, that when we get home, she's cussing and fussing and this and that. You don't want that. You want to be one way with him, the same way in church, the same way outside. And if you don't forgive, he is watching, but you toting that Bible real tough. You going to God and you in your prayer closet, but you can't forgive me.
And also, too, is it safe to say that even with husbands who are believers, because of the position that God has given the wife, I mean, he was so specific as to say, you can win your husband with your chase conversation, i.e. behavior. You know what I'm saying? But
your ways.
Absolutely. But I would say that even if your husband is a believer, because of the assignment that is against men constantly, a woman's stand, my husband actually put this in a song, but he says it all the time. A woman really has the power to make or break a man, which is why we see chapters like Proverbs 7, versus Proverbs 31, different things like that, because God instituted the woman as the helper, and that Hebrew word is that 𝐬𝐳𝑗, and the same word used for the Holy Ghost in our lives. So let the Holy Ghost be dysfunctional in our lives. Exactly. What would happen to us if it wasn't standing true to what it is and its function? So a lot of times women look at our position, we look at it as like, oh, it's, we look down upon it, but we forget and we don't take into account how detrimental it really is,
It is
for us. Yeah.
Your position is to birth him out.
Oh my God. Stop talking.
You have the womb, and that is our job.
Wow.
Little babies out, but your job, Juanita Bynum, and if there's no other questions, I don't want to ignore anyone's questions, but Juanita Bynum, I know a lot of people don't care too much for her because of what happened, but I know everything happens for a reason. When she was with that man, back in like early 2000s, she wrote a book called Teach Me How to Love You. That book transformed my life. It was because of her that I am the way I am. She said, all these women out here say I deserve a fat diamond, a nice car, a nice house, millionaire man, set, da, da, da. She said, if you think you are so bad and deserve that, birth him out.
Oh my
God. Get on your knees, because every man has it in them. Get on your knees and birth him out. And watch him become that man by your hands and your prayer.
So what you're saying is, let me back it up. You said that some women will try to turn their husbands into a project and change him into something. But you're saying that through the Spirit, we actually have the power to birth everything that we see, as opposed to changing.
On the webinar is how you'll learn how to do that. That's exactly what it's about.
Oh my God. Okay.
It is actually called, so it's Overstepping Boundaries. But when you get into it, the meat of it is two different titles. How to change your spouse through God. Because that's our job. That's why it's so innate in us. That is our job. You see the oxymoron? Every woman wants to change their spouse because that is your job as a woman. But it's not your job physically. It's to partner with the Holy Ghost to be a conduit to change him.
I'm getting chill bumps. I'm getting chill bumps. I am not lying. I'm not lying, and I am not. It's Saturday, Britt. It's Saturday. I'm not lying, and I'm not just exaggerating. Like, I'm sitting here, and my spirit is like kind of turning and reeling because that's so true.
Yes.
That is true.
That's why it's innate in us to be like, oh, I can make him do this, fashion sense. Oh, I can make him do this, a little more toned down in his words, because that's our nature. That's who we are.
We just
But
take the wrong route.
Go. There you go. We allow the enemy to come in and it drives a wedge and then it's done.
We could call it we don't want to take the Jezebel route. We want to take the Abigail route.
There you go. Or even
oh my God,
the route.
Sit
at the feet of the Holy Ghost and say, show me what you need to change in my husband. Teach me how to change my husband. What do I need to change that he will then follow me? Even though, no, he's not supposed to because he's the head. But they, as you know,
the influence.
There you go.
Because that's one of the things about the Spirit of God. The Holy Ghost is never going to override our will, but it will influence us. It knows how to he tugs our heart. You know, he'll put visions in us. He knows how to do it to where we know that it's him speaking and we value it. You know, but he's not gonna force us.
Nope. And that's why men buck.
Yeah.
Because you're forcing it. And even God doesn't force it. It's not forced. It's as gentle as a dove, but wise as a serpent.
Wow.
That's how. Literally, we've been married 11 years. My first prayer was, make my husband strong, man of God, king, prophet, priest of my home, that cannot be easily manipulated. Year 9, 10, and 11, that's begun to manifest.
Wow. You know what's crazy? The prayer you prayed when I was single, a man of God prophesied that to me. He said the man that God is sending you, he said he's a man of God and he won't be easily moved by external pressures. But it's so funny that you say that, because one of the things about a man becoming that priest of his home, the prophet, and being able to, as women, receive it, or we try to, I think this is one of my faults. I'll try to see how can I methodically put my husband into that position. But you said you prayed for God to put him in that position. And I'm getting chills again because I'm like, I missed it.
There you go.
I mean, in my mind, okay, I want my husband to be the leader. I want him to be the king and the prophet and the priest of the home. And I want to put him in that position. And it's not my position to put him in. It's God's position. And God also knows what needs to be moved out in order for him to occupy the position. And it's just for me to submit to it.
Done. And
I'm about to get off of this slide, Lord.
The second part of that submission is and receive. Learn how to receive. Because let me tell you, there's a part to that. What she said?
Well, that's the truth.
Let me tell you, when it started, year 9, 10, that friendly fire don't feel too nice.
Oh, Lord.
So, praying for no more manipulation. Boss can't manipulate him. Parents, friends, this, that. Hey, let's do this. No. What you mean no? I don't hear no. You don't tell me no. Because you're going to hear more about it. I'm like, I go to God. He goes, isn't that what you asked for? I said, yeah, but not to me. And he goes, friendly fire. He has to build a backbone with everybody. I'm not a Jezebel. I don't twist his arm. Even when I was in the lead, which was out of order, I still got from God and brought it to him and said, this is what I got. What do you think? You see what I'm saying? And sometimes I'd be strong in it and be like, but I think. And he'd be like, I don't think so. But me thinking, not really there. Let's just do it my way. And it would backfire. I'm not even gonna lie. It would backfire sometimes. Sometimes it worked. Yeah. But he definitely started saying no. And I was just like, I don't like this. And God had to keep checking me. This is what so you have to be careful what you pray. You got to be able to receive But this is about everything. I want to be a millionaire. Can you receive $1 million? I want to have a mansion. Can you keep it clean? You got to be able to receive it.
Look, you cutting me to the white meat, but it's helping me. I'm getting, yes. That's awesome.
Receive it, because not everybody can. You can't. Woo. And then now you're stepping on what God's doing, and now God's gonna rebuke you because He's working on him. Right.
The thing of it is coming into that position, and that I think that was one of my big errors, because I was like, yeah, I want you in that position, but here's the right way to step into it, without doing this or doing, and it's like you said, that's him and God, and he has to come in. We always talk, and me and my husband talk like this, and he's like, you can't take away my roar, and I'm like, you're absolutely right. And so in a lot of ways, it's hard though, because you want him to look and operate and be like you envision it and what's comfortable for you.
And let's stop you right there. It never looks like what you envision your husband to do and be. It will not. It's not going to.
Because it won't challenge you. If it did. Nope. You'll never grow.
Nope.
So, oh my God. Look, I see y'all comments. Y'all right here sitting in this seat with me like I'm under the chair. Like, I'm just like, y'all get on this webinar Saturday.
Yes.
Look, I'm not taking any more of this lady's time. She done already just, look, I got to put my room back together. All the chairs and stuff I've thrown while listening to this, because it's just what is all in my Kool-Aid. But ladies, make sure that y'all get on this webinar. Make sure. And look, even if you cannot be on there at 3:00, register and you'll have the recording. All right, you'll have the recording. And also too, remember, she's a relationship wife coach. So if you need her services, reach out. Follow her here on Facebook. Make sure you follow her on Instagram, because every once in a while she'll pop up and do a live, a talk, and I can guarantee you it's a good pit stop on our journey. It's a good pit stop. And so you want to catch those. Like I said, I've binged her YouTube videos. So it's like seeing you today. I felt like I just talked to you, like, so I just saw your face like a few days ago because of that. But again, when you have somebody who's graced in that area that God has given them, please try to extract as much as you can. So I don't see any more questions. I just see a lot of confessions of guilt.
And that's the beginning of it. So sounds good to me.
That's the beginning. So again, thank you, ladies, for tuning in, for the time that you have. I love you all. And look, get on this webinar.
Yes.
I will hope to see you guys there. And I know it's going to be life-giving. If you're just getting on, I see Prophetess Pastor Contessa jumping on. How you doing, sis? Y'all watch it from the beginning. This was a powerful, powerful, powerful talk. I love y'all, and good night.
Night.